Hello everyone, this is Rich A from WindowsObserver.com. Welcome to another tips and tricks and things where we're going to do a walkthrough of the Windows 8 release preview, which just came out a few days ago on the 31st of May and is now available for download to the public. I want to highlight some of the changes I've noticed between the consumer preview, which came out at the end of February, and now this release preview. The release preview is Microsoft's last public release of the upcoming operating system before it goes public, before it's released to manufacturers so they can start installing it on new computers. The expectation that's going to happen sometime in October according to the speculation on the internet. So let's start off by taking a look at the Metro start screen. As you can see here, I've customized this with the software and programs that I want available there, both a combination of desktop apps such as some of the Windows Live Essentials stuff that I still use, as well as Metro apps like Xbox Live Games, the Xbox Companion, the Metro Remote Desktop app, excuse me, SkyDrive app, which I've installed, and other programs that I use. Again, here's Office 2010 installed, and this is how I'm still doing my email. And you can see it's completely customizable. I can name each of the groups as I want to customize that, and in fact I'm going to show you how I do that here in a minute. Well, the first thing I want to show you though is that with a right click of the mouse, you'll bring up this app bar, and you'll see this button down here called All Apps. You would also swipe down on the screen from top or up from the bottom to get the same thing, and click on that, and this is all the apps and software you have installed on your Windows 8 release preview. And as you scroll through here, you can see everything's in its own groups. Like there's the Windows Accessory group, there's TechSmith, there's Office, and this is kind of like looking at the All Programs menu on the old Start button on Windows 7 and Windows Vista. And so by removing a link from here, it is gone from your menu system. There's options to uninstall. So for instance, if you do a right click on an item, you'll get this app bar up here that gives you an option to pin it to the Metro start screen. You can unpin it from the taskbar or pin it to the taskbar. I currently have that pinned to my taskbar. Here's the option to uninstall the program. Here's an option to open it in a new window, run it as an administrator, or open the location of the file where the shortcut is pointing to. And then you just right click to turn that off. Keyboard wise, I can hit escape and back out of that, and it takes me back to the desktop. That's one thing I don't like a lot. I would rather see this pop up back to the start screen. I'm not sure why that happens that way, but escape will remove you from there and take you back to the desktop. Had I gone down to the bottom left corner, I would have gotten the start screen icon. Yeah, there you go. You'd get the start screen icon down there in the lower left, and then I could have clicked it to come back to the start menu, the Metro start screen. Alright, so customization uses semantic zoom, and they've changed it. It used to be a magnifying glass, and now in the bottom right hand lower corner of the Metro start screen it's a little minus sign. You click on that and you get semantic zoom, and here you can drag groups and realign them, put them in different places. You can also rename groups. So you see, for instance, this group right here is called miscellaneous. If I right click on that, you choose name group, its current name is highlighted, or you can type a new name for it, or if it's a group that's never been named, then you can type that name here and just click name, and now that group has a name. And if you just left click, you come back to the start screen, Metro start screen. So all apps, kind of equivalent to your old programs listing on the old start menu. We talked about how you select the all apps. Now, customizing the Metro start screen, when you look at this, every time you install a new piece of software or a new Metro app, they are going to get added down here on the very end of your current Metro start screen. From that point, you can edit the things, and I'll give you an example here on this Wikipedia Metro app. If I right click on that, I get the app bar menu options. I can make it smaller, where you see it makes it a square. If I can make it larger. I can uninstall the app, or I can unpin it from here. That doesn't uninstall it, of course, it just takes it off the Metro start screen. So anything you remove from here, say for instance when I installed Office 2010 on my Windows 8 release preview desktop, I had a ton of items here that you all saw on the All Apps page. Well, if I remove them from the start, they're still on the system, and that allowed me to just bring the ones that I wanted, which were the main programs, onto the start screen, so they're available to me in the Metro start screen side. All right. We talked about semantic screwing for moving groups around, and of course here on the main page, if you grab an icon and you drag it, you can move it around within any group it's in. You can move it to another group, or if you wait for that solid bar to come up, you can create a new group with it. So that's how easy it is to customize the Metro start screen icons on the start screen itself. Let's talk a little bit. This has been getting a whole lot of press, and that's the new Metro style apps that have been added by Microsoft since the consumer preview. The finance app was available before, but 3 new apps, one called Sports, one called News, and one called Travel. And these apps are terrific because they're very basic, they're very simplistic, but they are connected to Bing, so it's Bing information. You can see up here it says Bing Daily. If you right click here, you can choose sources and you can add sources. So you got all kinds of options here to choose from, all kinds of different feeds to get your news in these apps from, and it's broken down by category. So there's a tremendous amount of information, as you can see, that's available even down to regional news. Alright, so lots of options to customize the app. I haven't done any customization, so it's basically using all the Bing stuff. If I click on a story and I go to the story, here it is, and I can read it, and I can, using my mouse key or swiping, I can scroll back and forth. Here's what I really like that's been improved in all of these apps, is that before, if you went back, you got taken all the way back to the home page or the starting point of the Metro app. When I click on this one, I come right back to the point I was in this, in the scroll across the app. So if I check out this story on Usher, and then I click to go back, he's still right where I was. It doesn't go all the way back to here. So I really like that because it allows me to progress through the app and the stories and the information without having to start all over and scroll back. Trends, you can see Trending Edwards, the story's about John Edwards. You can see what's kind of trending through the news source that you're on. For instance, with Bing, John Edwards, Sandcastles, Amelia Earhart, Julian. So you can see the trending topics that are going on. So that's a nice little feature to be able to stay up to date with stuff. Your news is, you add sections to this. I chose Microsoft here. If you click the plus mark, type in a word like, let's say, SpaceX, and we add SpaceX, now anything relating to SpaceX is showing up. So it really does allow you to take this customization to a whole level. So that is the news app. Of course, to exit apps in Metro, you see the hand, you just grab it, drag down, and it's gone. Let's take a look at the travel app. Again, here's when you right click, you get the app bar. You can choose different destinations. You can look at flights, hotels, and web information. If you're interested in a location, then you're able to click on it. Not the big picture, obviously. But like here's Cape Town, South Africa. You see pictures, it takes you around, it gives you the weather, it tells you how much the money's worth, and it gives you photos, panoramas, all kinds of attractions and stuff, and a lot of, even down to restaurants, trip guides, and things like that. And down here, if you click, you can get back to home very easily, which I really like that ability. I don't have to always have to have this arrow in tag. So the Bing app, Bing Travel app is there. The Sports app, very similar to the News one, also has some customizations that are available, and as you can see, you can list your favorite teams and you can choose your sport that you're a fan of. For instance, for me, I've chosen Dallas Cowboys, obviously, as my favorite team. Shows me what their record was last year. I can add other teams here. For instance, if I wanted to add the my hometown Jacksonville Jaguars, I can add them and close, and there they are. And then if I click on that tile, I'll get a customized news page of news stories all about the Cowboys, and then it will show their schedule. And I think this was I think this is upcoming, and then of course you can see their stats and team stats and players that are on the roster. So it really does allow for a lot of customization in that sense as well. So there's the Bing Sports app, and of course the Finance app you've seen, but they really made those experiences consistent across all the apps. So the right click brings up the app bar and it gives you all those customization options, and it really allows you to use the application the way you want for the information that you're looking for, or you can use it in their default and you still get a tremendous amount of information. Alright, let's talk a little bit about the PC settings menu. Now, I want to show you real quick a couple of hotspots on the Metro start screen. Of course, the lower left brings up kind of a task switcher. That shows me to the desktop, and if I go back, I get the start screen. If I go to the top left, same thing there. That's your app task switcher bar, whatever you want to call that. Top right corner, it brings up the charms bar, which has your search, your share, takes you back to the start screen, shows you any devices that are available, and of course your settings. Now when you click on settings, you get this new menu, and here you have a couple of options for tiles, such as administration tools, or to clear all your personal info from tiles. And then I noticed that this is now kind of a norm. They've included this arrow. It may have been there before in the consumer preview, but this is the first time I've noticed that. And of course, if you hit change PC settings while you're here, it's going to take you to the Metro control panel, which we're going to go over here in a minute. In fact, I think that was my next thing I wanted to do. I do want to give you a note, and this is something I picked up from Ed Bott as well through Twitter, is that when you install Windows 8, whether you use the customization, the express settings where it kind of sets some of the defaults for the OS for you, or you do the one where you answer all the questions, you got to make sure if you do the express one, you go into control panel and you change your time zone, because it's going to be set to the Pacific where Microsoft is located. If you do it with the regular setup where you're answering all the questions and customizing it yourself, you'll have a chance to pick your time zone. So let's talk about the PC settings menu. So you go to the charms bar and you go to PC settings, and this is the Metro control panel. On the first page is your personalization settings, so that you can pick your lock screen image. Your start screen is very customizable. It has several different backgrounds, but even more so this time there are several color choosers to pick your highlighted colors for what you want to do, and each of them have a kind of a standard background color that you'll get with that as well. So as you can see here, you can pick the one that best suits you. This is my personal choice. And then of course the last one on the main screen for personalized is your account picture. You can take one with your camera if it's on the computer and use that for your start screen, and if you have settings to sync, it will sync with any other Windows 8 desktops or machines that you use. Next one is users. This is you, of course. When you first set up your account and you're installing Windows 8, you're going to need to come here and choose the option that says Trust This PC. Clicking on that will take you to the web, to your Microsoft account, and it will allow you to choose the name of the machine you just installed that account on and make it a trusted PC. That way you can do things like sync settings and stuff. Alright, here's where you can change your password, create a picture password if that's what you use, or make a PIN to get on and off. You can make the setting that any user who has to have a password when they wake up this PC, and then other users, this is the add user dialog where you get to put somebody else's account and add them to the computer. The notifications, this is where you can toggle these things on and off for app notifications, and then these are all the apps that have told the system that they have notifications enabled, and you can control which ones the system will pop up notifications for you on. Search, these are your defaults for search and which apps can be used for search, which you typically access via the charms bar. The share option, same thing here. You can control how many items are in your share list, and then it will show you the 5 apps that you have selected or apps that are available for sharing. The general tab, this is where you'll set your time. So if you're not Pacific Daylight Time and you need to reset that after an installation, you come here to do that. There's your automatic daylight saving times. Switching, this is that switch tab over here on the left. The spelling for taking care of that business. And then here's refreshing your PC. This will basically give you a warm reboot of Windows. It will keep all your settings. You won't lose your photos, music, or other personal files, but this will refresh things and get all the settings back to the defaults basically. This one right here, remove everything and reinstall Windows. They've renamed that. I forget what it said before. But this basically takes you to scratch as if the system was day one after an installation or coming from the manufacturer. And then here's your advanced startup options. such as booting for, when you click on that, it's going to give you an advanced startup menu that's available with Windows 8. Here's your privacy choices. An interesting one that was added in the release preview was this Windows Store sending URLs for the web content that apps use. So I left that turned off because I think that would take that to mean that if a store is using, or an app that's available in the Windows Store is sending data from a URL or accessing a URL, that would share it with Microsoft. And I've just selected to not do that. The devices, this is what I love. I didn't have to install my printer. It was installed for me. My camera got picked up automatically. My monitors, the LifeCam that I use, the Microsoft LifeCam I use, and the mouse, the keyboard, and all these other things. It even knows about my Xbox 360 because I use the Xbox 360 Companion Metro app. And then this right here, you can toggle this on and off if you're possibly on a metered connection and you're controlling the data throughput that you're able to download. But none of these items did I have to install anything for. It was automatic. My printer was there ready to go for me once the installation was done. There's the ease of access if you have difficulty seeing the screen or need things for easier access to the OS. These are where you would set those settings. Here's the sync your settings page where you can turn it on and off, and then here you get to choose the settings. Now I have noticed a few things. The colors, background, lock screen, and account picture work pretty good. Desktop personalization such as themes, not a problem. I take this to be taskbar settings, not the icons or the programs you have shortcutted on your taskbar. And of course the high contrast for ease of access and things like that. Passwords, it will share password information between one Windows 8 machine and another. The ease of access settings, if you use those will be synced back and forth. Language, some app settings that purchases will be synced. Your browser, remember everybody was with Windows Live Mesh going away, there used to be an option for favorites to be shared between PCs that ran Windows Live Mesh. Well, in Windows 8, this is a feature of the syncing the PC, and so therefore your history and your favorites will be synced between different Windows 8 machines. And then of course your Windows Explorer mouse and other settings there. And then again, another option here for syncing over metered connection, so you can help control the data output and the data download that your system would want to do to take care of these syncing things, to help you from overages and things like that. Home group, this is where you can create a home group. Again, one of your machines will be master for that and creates the password and takes care of the business. And here's Windows Update, where you can check for updates. Now, the only thing I think is missing on this page is a button to take me to the desktop control panel, because obviously you don't have everything in this PC settings version of the control panel, the Metro version. So I'd like an option here where I would be able to go to the main control panel. But unfortunately the charms bar does not bring anything up for me to choose from, nor does right click bring up anything in the PC settings. So it would be nice to have one last thing here that would say go to desktop control panel, or on the charms bar I think it would be perfect right here to have an option that says go to desktop control panel. You click it and it would take you out to the desktop control panel. So there you go, that's everything on the start screen for now. A lot of changes and improvements. I'm finding overall it is running much better, runs a little snappier. This is the first time I've had Windows 8 as my primary OS on my desktop machine, and so far so good. And I'm quite pleased with the choices of some of the apps and things like that, such as there's two great Twitter apps now in the Windows Store, Rowie and Tweet Pro. I think Flip Toast is still in there, but these guys are very active on Twitter right now. I've been talking back and forth to the developers, and they've got a lot of plans in place. They've been kind of working on it since they were frozen in the release preview code, and they will have updates that will be coming out very soon to help improve on those things. Alright, so now let's move to the desktop, and let's talk a little bit about the desktop environment. Now, this does not look any different from your Windows 7 desktop, with the exception of you don't have a start button down here. In fact, when you go down to the bottom left corner, that is a hot corner for the start screen, so it flips back to the start screen, and you can flip back and forth there. Top right corner brings up the charms bar, just like it always has. Bottom right corner brings up the charms bar like it always has. Dual monitor support is really terrific. I'm running in a dual monitor setup, although I can't show you on this this screencast, but this dual monitor setup is just tremendous. It remembers what window a program last opened in, so that when you click on it, it easily takes you back to the same monitor, because I like to run things in certain monitors the way I have it set up. Dual monitors, as far as wallpaper goes, is very unique. If it's a multi-wallpaper theme, then it will show different wallpapers on the different monitors. Let's talk a little bit about the settings for the dual monitors, and this is in taskbar properties. I'm going to put it in the middle of the page, and right down here, multiple displays. Here's where you choose to show the taskbar on all displays or not. If you unclick that, it will only show the taskbar on the main display. Show taskbar buttons on. You got three choices here. You can show all the buttons on all the taskbars. You can show all the buttons on the main taskbar, which is on the main screen, and then the taskbar where the window is open. This is my default. That's what I'm choosing to use, so that everything's on one monitor. If I click it and it opens up on the second monitor, I've still got the icon down on the taskbar on that running monitor, but it doesn't stay there. And then taskbar where window is open, for me, I found that it's kind of like this. It's the same one as the second choice. I have not noticed any differences with that. So I keep that one chose. And then buttons on other taskbars is where you can choose the combination. How do you combine them and hide labels, combine when taskbar is full, or never combine? And that's kind of the default setting right there. So dual monitor support is real impressive so far in Windows 8 release preview. Going on to the next thing, 2 toolbars menus that are available that can help you use the Windows 8 release preview desktop without your start screen, because everybody misses that start button. Down here in the lower left hand corner, where you get the start icon to flip back and forth between the Metro start screen, if you right click, you get what's called WinX. The WinX is the keyboard shortcut for this menu, and this has options to go to programs and features, power options. You can see all the options here. This is an advanced menu because it takes you into a lot of administrative tasks on the system, but it does give you very quick access, for instance command prompt, and there it is. Alright, so the WinX menu is still there, and that's very handy to have. The other one is a toolbar that I recommend that you install on the taskbar, and what you do is you right click on desktop, the taskbar, and get the property tab, and you come up here to toolbars and you choose desktop. And what that does is it puts this menu right here, desktop, with this little arrow, and if I click on that, here you can see it's basically shortcuts for my desktop. It starts off with the library, so I've got quick access to my documents, even to the point of, I could drill down, I could keep drilling down here all the way to the most bottom level of things. Same thing with music, pictures, and videos. Here's home group. If you're using home group, it would appear there. Here is my user directory, so my contacts desktop. Again, all these things will appear there. It's taking a minute for it to read the downloads. There they are. And so you have an ability here to see things like your SkyDrive and anything that would appear in your computer. There's your computer where you can access the local drives, network, control panel, which gives you access to all the control panel options, drill down, recycle bin, the big control panel. Of course, I got a shortcut on the desktop for photos on my server. So between those two menus, the WinX menu and the desktop menu, you really don't miss that start button. I know everybody likes it and it's familiar and it's been there for a couple iterations of Windows, but if you put those two menus to use, I don't think you would miss the start button at all. Let's talk a little bit about Peek. Peek is that feature where you come down to the right hand lower corner of the computer. Let's open up a browser window here. If you come down here and hover in the bottom right corner, as you see, it peeks to the desktop. And you notice the arrow effect of that peek is gone. If you move your mouse, it comes back. You can also go there and immediately click, and it will minimize all windows as well. And this happens on both monitors. If you're in a dual monitor mode, this works on both of them. There is an option in the taskbar properties. If you look right here, you can turn Peek on and off. So if you unclick that, Peek won't be available to you. You don't have to worry about it. And of course, like we mentioned, you still get the charms bar, the shadow of the charms bar, and then it will disappear shortly. But Peek is available there to to minimize and maximize any of the stuff that is on the screen. Charms bar, we talked about it. The unique thing about the Charms bar on the desktop, when you go to settings, and you get settings by using one of the hot corners or by swiping in from the right hand side of the screen, is these settings up here, control panel, personalization, and PC info, all give you the desktop equivalents of those things, not the Metro version. So if I click control panel, you get the standard control panel. If I bring that up and I click personalization, then I get the personalization menu. If I do PC info, then I get what we know as system properties. So that Charms bar only gives you the stuff that is available to you on the desktop side. So that's very handy. If you, for some reason, bring up the Charms bar, hang on, and you choose change PC settings here, it doesn't go to the control panel. It takes you back to the Metro PC settings app. So just be aware of that those things are accessible right there. Now, I wanted to mention one of the big issues that the Windows 8 Consumer Preview had was it did not work correctly with Windows Home Server and the Windows Home Server connector software. Well, I'm happy to report that the connector software will install. Automatic backups will happen of your Windows 8 release preview system. There is an error that you will get, computer error, computer monitoring error, and it's something related to Windows 8 pre-release. And it's most likely will be dealt with and taken care of once the system goes final. So it does have a couple of little hiccups there as far as that goes. But when you click on network assets such as the home server and you want to access the server files, you will have to enter your credentials. Now what's unique is that on a Windows 8 machine, if you use your Microsoft account, it is a different account name to what's on the Windows Home Server. Now the one thing I have not tried that I'm going to experiment with later is I'm going to create a new account on the server that matches the email address, a Microsoft account email address that I'm going to use to create a user, and I want to see if it eliminates that requirement to provide credentials to the server to access files and resources over there. However, Windows 8 does allow you to put in those credentials and save them so that they're cached and you can always access server assets even on your normal Microsoft account that may not match the account on Windows Home Server. So that's everything I wanted to cover with you in this screencast. I hope you enjoy trying out the Windows 8 release preview. Listen to the Observe Tech podcast episode 54, which came out yesterday. It is all about the Windows 8 release preview, and it's a link and discussion about a lot of different stories that are out there on the web about the release preview and the expectations and what you can expect from it. So until next time, stay safe out there.